Honorable Union Minister Shri ji, Honorable Union Minister for Urban Development Hardeep Singh Puri ji, Mayor Nandatai Jijta, Honorable Secretary Durga Shankar Mishra ji, Honorable Ambassador of Germany Dr. Martin May, Ambassador of France Mr. Alexander Ziegler, Mr. Brajesh Dixit, all the members of diplomatic community, mayors, my colleagues from Assembly, all the delegates from across the world, dear friends, I would like to thank the Government of India, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs for organizing this 11th Urban Mobility India 2018 Summit in the city of Nagpur. The city of Nagpur is hometown of Mr. Nitin Gadkari, and of course it's also my hometown. So we are very proud that this is happening at Nagpur, and I would like to welcome you to the second capital of state of Maharashtra. In the ancient history, we used to see that the civilizations used to come up on the banks of rivers. The understanding was that water is life, and wherever there is ample water, we used to see civilizations. But now, in the urban area, we see that the habitations come up only where there is a mobility, where there is a transportation system, where urban transportation system, where there is a connectivity, where there is a communication system. And I think today's world, which is urbanizing at a very faster rate, and the states like Maharashtra, where we are already 48% urbanized so far as the census 2011 is concerned, and maybe by this time when I am speaking to you, Maharashtra is urbanized more than 50%. 50% of our population hopefully is living now in the urban areas. Mobility is one of the key concerns which will determine the sustainability of our cities, how our cities will shape, how the living standards of our city would be, will depend on the amount of transportation systems or mobility we are able to create. And all of us know that in the cities, the biggest polluter is the transportation system. The cars or the public transport which is on conventional fuel is the biggest polluter. We talk about the air quality of the cities, and the biggest polluter of this air quality is nothing but the transportation system. So we need a comprehensive mobility solution. At the same time, we need a very green type of mobility solution which provides mobility to every single person, but at the same time it's sustainable. And I think today, when I look at the solutions which are being offered and the technologies which are in offering, which are coming, I think we are at a point where we can find a very sustainable and affordable solutions into green mobility. In Maharashtra, we are developing a very big metro corridor, where in the cities of Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, in fact, the total length which is planned is around 570 kilometers, out of which we have already given approval to more than 400 kilometers, and we have already started work for around 260 kilometers, and will be starting around 100 kilometers more in months to come. So I think it would be one of the biggest networks in the entire country. And I think when we talk of mobility, it requires an end-to-end solution. Mobility itself is something which should be dependable. And we know that we create good roads. In fact, with a minister like Nitinji, we create very smart roads, very big roads. But our automobile companies are smarter. They create new models which are more affordable and they congest the roads. So the only solution available is public transport. And in public transport, unless we have end-to-end solution from a point where I stand to the point where I want to go, if I get end-to-end solution through public transport, then only people start using public transport. Otherwise, normally if it's not dependable, the basic nature of human being is to, not to enter into something new where you really don't know where are you going to land. So I think this integration is very important in public transport. In Mumbai, now we are integrating the entire modes of public transport. So in Mumbai we are creating the metro, we already have a mono, we have our best buses which is a municipal transport. We also have the suburban railway. The suburban railway is lifeline of Mumbai, and very soon with Honorable Gadkariji's help, we are also starting water transport in Mumbai. We are awaiting a Ro-Ro boat, and once we get the boat, we'll start the water transport system. But ahead of that, we will be integrating all the modes of transportation into one platform, and that will create an entire network of mobility where people would be offered end-to-end solution. Let's say today we are in a world where mobile is actually a tool which is helping us. So in Mumbai, once our platform is created, on mobile, any person can actually see where he is standing, where is the public transport, nearest public transport station, and from that station to his final destination, how he can go, he can switch. So maybe he can go to a station by metro, he can come out, he can catch a best bus, or he can have a mono, or he can have a, let's say, suburban railway, and within 300 meters from where he is standing and up to 300 meters of where he wants to go, he will be able to go by public transport. And when we do this integration, I think that will actually help every person to use a very dependable mode of public transport, and at the same time we are bringing it on a single ticket, because that's also very important. If there are 5-6 modes of public transport, and if you have to buy a ticket at every mode, then this integration is of no importance. So it has to be on a single ticket. I buy a ticket and then I am free. I can actually hop on any mode of transport, and I can actually, using that, go end to end. With this solution, I think we can really bring down the pollution which is created by so many vehicles in our cities. In fact, I must tell you that as I have already told, that the lifeline of Mumbai is our suburban railway, and in last 70 years through our suburban railways we have created carrying capacity of 7 million passengers, and in 7 years, I mean, we will start delivering from next year. So we started in 2015. By 2022, in Mumbai itself, we will create carrying capacity of metro of about 9 million passengers. So what we could do in, let's say, 70 years, in 7 years, we'll do more than that. And once this carrying capacity is doubled, and with the integration, I think Mumbai will be a city where end-to-end urban mobility will be available on a very dynamic platform. I think today, with all this technology, so many solutions are available. Now into mobility, I think artificial intelligence is creating such tools where you can actually increase your efficiency, you can actually make it more economical with all these tools. You can plan the routes, you can actually forecast the traffic flow, the traffic survey, and based on that you can provide the solutions. And I think all these solutions we are trying to use today. We have kicked off a hackathon, and I think best of the minds through this hackathon will also provide us many solutions into transportation. And I must congratulate our Nagpur Metro for being very forward-looking. All the experiments which they have done in Nagpur are actually path-breaking, and I'm very happy. In fact, our underground metro in Mumbai, which is being actually which is doing wonderful things, and at a very fast pace, this underground metro is being built. And I must tell you how sustainable it is. That if, let's say, the amount of carbon footprint which this underground metro will mitigate, to mitigate that amount of carbon footprint, we will require 3 crore full-grown trees to be planted in Mumbai, which is impossible. So the amount of carbon footprint, one metro line, which is perhaps biggest single underground line in Asia, and this can mitigate and bring the sustainability into the entire city. Our company, which is doing the elevated metro, I think it is also doing elevated metro at the fastest pace, because in Mumbai or in Pune, if we look at the challenges in creating a metro network, in constructing metros is huge. But I think with the approach of a very unified type of command, and with the approach of war room which I have created, where I see to it that all the agencies sit together and they take the decisions then and there. So that has actually cut down the time, and I think all our metros are either on schedule or are ahead of time, and I'm sure we'll complete them. In fact, again, as rightly told by Mr. Gadkari, that we are going big time into e-buses, electric buses, because that is the future. In fact, our the state utility into energy distribution has already announced rates for charging. They are creating the charging infrastructures in all big cities on their own, and I think with all the new innovations into electric buses, tomorrow I think the electric buses which are air conditioned, which are beautifully designed, will be available at the same fare at which today's our diesel or petrol buses are available, and that will change the face of the mobility into the bus system in our state and in our country. I think with such conclaves, with such symposiums, with such deliberations, we can actually bring the best practices and we can share them. And with these shared practices, we can actually change the face of mobility in India. So I welcome all the delegates to this city of Nagpur. I wish the 11th Urban Mobility India 2018 all the best, and I look forward for more and more solutions from this mobility conference, and I assure that whatever deliberations are done here, we will take note of it and we will try to implement them in our state. Thank you. Jai Hind.